So another example that I hear occasionally is homeowner has an inverter, but they know they want to upgrade with batteries later, kind of spread out some of the expense a little bit.
Sure.
What should a homeowner do on the forefront to make sure that they're battery ready later?
Yeah. So with SolarEdge, it's easy. We only sell one inverter now. It's the Home Hub. So that's our battery capable inverter. Mm-hmm. It's made in the US. It's out of our factory in Texas. It's pretty awesome. If you're planning on an AC coupled battery, then yeah, any AC coupled battery would work. Mm-hmm. I will tell you right now, the best time to get a battery is your first sale. That is the lowest cost, because anytime a tech has to roll their truck out again to add a battery to your system, mm-hmm. it's a little more expensive than if you do it all at once. Have you ever replaced windows on your house? My wife and I are doing a kitchen remodel. And so we wanted to replace, 3 windows. Yeah. And we talked about this. Well, let's do these 2 now, which is the most impactful on our design. Then we can replace that one later. And the contractor point blank told me, you should do them all right now, because it's going to be double the cost to replace that one window 2 years from now. So just get the batteries now is what I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
Hands down.
Let's see here. Travis is saying, you can oversize your system, or you can oversize your rooftop system if you're going to have batteries, because it's DC to DC.
That's right.
So
SolarEdge, because we're DC coupled, we can also charge from the solar, right? Mm-hmm. And so any clipped energy, we talked about micro clipping and losing beer over your glass in this poor attempt at an analogy. One day we'll film a video. We'll do an actual demonstration with beer glasses, and people are going to cry because there's.
So awesome. It's okay. We'll workshop it.
But anyway, because SolarEdge is DC coupled, or any DC coupled battery, I don't know actually if any. Anyway, we can charge from clipped energy, and so any beer that was spilling over your glass just goes into the battery. So imagine now your pint glass is over the big glass.
But the advantage is later on in the evening, when I'm still experiencing high rates because my utility jacks up my rates at 3 o'clock every day, I can then use that battery power to offset that.
Absolutely. So any time of use market or any space where there's an on-peak or off-peak time, or there's no net metering agreement, meaning that you're not allowed to send energy back to the utility, you should always add a battery. Every single time you should add a battery.
Okay. So let's talk chemistry now. I know this is where you start getting excited because this is your wheelhouse.
I'm kind of a nerd. It's cool.
Yeah. So I'll start this off by saying, if you go online and you look at different battery chemistries, you will see NMC versus LFP. And you'll see all of this big scare language oh, you can't have NMC. LFP is the only safe thing in the whole wide world. I think that's what marketing and sales people do a little bit too much, is they kind of look for those little bitty differences that they think are an advantage, and they just kind of blow them out of proportion.
Yeah, it's a personal pet peeve of mine. It drives me insane because it's how you construct the battery. I'm going to give you a good example.
Okay.
So I think most people know what a Volkswagen Jetta is, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. They make a Volkswagen Jetta TDI, which is a diesel, and they make a standard Volkswagen Jetta, which is just unleaded gas, right? Mm-hmm. In the safety report, there is no difference between those cars based on the fuel that they use. The standard test for safety that we have in the industry is what we call UL 9540. That's a certification. Mm-hmm. And then you can do a fire test that says, okay, let's set the battery on fire to see what happens, right? Mm-hmm. And record the results so we know that the battery is safe. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know until you cause it to fail. Yeah. And so that's what the UL 9540A is. It's a test report that you do on your batteries. And so if I'm a homeowner, I'm going to ask, does this battery have UL 9540? And that means, is it certified with all the components that it's working with? Mm-hmm. And if your salesperson says yes, then great. And then you can ask, was it tested to UL 9540A, and can I see the test report? And if the salesperson says, I don't know, or no, it hasn't been, then you should probably consider a different battery vendor. Yeah. But if they say, yes, absolutely, we can get you the test report, then you should feel confident that you have a safe battery. Or even if they say, yes, it has been tested to you on 9540A, I don't think we can provide the test report. That's still, like, as long as they've done the large scale fire test, like, that's the important part. And so again, it's not the chemistry that matters. It's how the battery is constructed.
It's crumple zones, it's airbags in that car, it's all the things that make the vehicle more safe. It's the engineering around the chemistry.
That's exactly
Certainly
right.
there are chemical differences between gasoline and diesel, but that's really not the most important part. It's the engineering as a whole.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let's see here. We can't talk about batteries without talking about time of use and backup. So what is time of use?
So in California and in many places, we have a utility rate that's imposed upon solar customers that says during specific times of day, you're going to pay more for energy. And the intention is if energy is more expensive, you will use less energy during those times of the day. Realistically, that's not what happens. We all get home at 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. We turn on, in the summertime, we turn on our air conditioners, we turn on the lights, we watch TV, we kick our feet up, we cook dinner, whatever it is, we are using a lot of energy in our house, right? And that's when the most expensive energy is. And we're going to use our energy how we use our energy. So a lot of people can choose to charge their vehicles at night when it's less expensive, or run their pool pump at night when it's less expensive, or kind of do these avoided costs for using energy. But what batteries do is they take all the energy you created throughout the day and allow you to use it at night during those on-peak times. Now in California, we have what's called the net billing tariff, or NEM3. And what that means is we are no longer incentivized to discharge to the grid. We don't want to send any energy to the grid if you have NEM3. The reason for that is the value is almost nothing. Like, you get fractions of a penny for every kilowatt hour you send. And there's only really 2 specific hours that make sense to discharge. And of course, it's like from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., or maybe it's 6 to 8. I forget exactly. But it's in the summertime. It's August to September. It's 6 to 8. It's August, September, and that's the only time you want to send energy to the grid. And so, of course, if you have a battery, you can do that very well. You can say, yep, I'm going to dump all the energy out of my battery and send it all to the grid.
Okay.
And so that makes the most revenue for the homeowner. Now, SolarEdge has a what we call a BMA, battery management algorithm. And that just automatically, as all a homeowner has to do is say, yes, I want to do this. Like, they set it up on their My SolarEdge app. And SolarEdge does the math for them. And we say, okay, here's the most advantageous time to sell energy to the grid. We use a predictive algorithm that tells the battery when to charge based on your historical usage. So we know that what your energy usage patterns are, how and when to charge the battery for the most economic gain for the homeowner, and then when to discharge the battery. And then we also have a predictive element where we look at the 3-day forecast and say, oh yeah, there's going to be not a lot of sunlight tomorrow because it's going to rain. And so that's what we do.
I see a fellow Chris saying, Ron Popeil, set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
If you're an old fart like me, you get that joke. I actually have a Ron Popeil pocket fisherman that I keep in my car with me. Okay, so backup.
Yeah.
So just because you have a battery doesn't necessarily mean that you have backup.
That's right.
Yeah. You have to have something that disconnects you from the grid whenever you do go into backup. So there's usually additional hardware there, but essentially there are 2 types of backup. There's whole home and partial home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, so how many batteries you have kind of will help you get to whole home backup, right? So the general rule of thumb is if you have a single inverter and single battery, really you're going to do partial home backup. And I generally recommend nothing that's bigger than a 30 amp breaker, right? And so as a homeowner, you should walk with your install crew, your site foreman, your salesperson, And you should tell them what you want to back up. I want to back up all of my lighting loads and receptacles. I want to back up my refrigerator and my microwave. And maybe my garage door. So because I don't want to deal with pulling the emergency escape. I just want to be able to open the garage, right? So those are the things you're going to back up with a single battery. And that's partial home backup. Now, whole home backup is something completely different. Whole home backup is I want to be able to use my house like I use my house today, uninterrupted. I want everything on at my leisure. So that's going to be usually a multi-battery, multi-inverter system. And it's going to require a lot of wall space, but it can be done.
Let's see here. Mason is saying, whenever I do a walkthrough with a homeowner, good advice to homeowners, make sure you walk through with your installer, turn off all the breakers except the ones that you're backing up, and make sure that everything that you want is on. That way an installer doesn't have to come back at additional cost.
That's awesome. Yeah. I even do one better. So like label the breakers too. Put like a little sticker on them. Like, okay, yes, anything with a pink sticker is the loads that I want to back up. But as an installer, what you should do is like, okay, homeowner, here's your homework. After the installation's done, we're going to put you into backup mode. And I want you to survive on backup mode for maybe a weekend, like a planned weekend. Like I'm going to be home this weekend, and I want to experience what a backup mode is like so I know how to use my system the best way possible. And so you come out, you turn off the breaker, the main breaker, kill energy to your house, go into backup, and make sure you're comfortable and you understand the limitations of your system. Now, if your backup events happen in winter, you should plan like it's winter, right? So make sure that your heater turns on, make sure that your lights turn on, that your whatever it is you do, your snowblower works, your driveway resistive heater, your plug-in snowblower, whatever it is you're doing. I clearly don't come from snow environment. I was born and raised in Arizona. But whatever it is.
So speaking of winter, I just moved down to Sacramento from up in the hills. And in the hills, we'd lose power for a week, maybe a week and a half at a time during the winter, at least once. And I was always running off of generator. Talk to me about generators and solar systems.
Now, with SolarEdge, we do have generator integration. If you already have a whole home generator, great. We install on the supply side, so it's like belt and suspenders. What most homeowners want to get to is like being able to charge their batteries from the generator. We're not there yet, but I always say it is like having a backup for your backup. And anyone who ever creates content, like a backup to the backup is always a good idea.
Yes, I will be backing this up as soon as we're done, so we can post on the YouTubes later.
So that's all generator does is backup to the backup, right? And that's what it should be used for. Now, if you're in a place where there's intermittent power outages, like let's say Puerto Rico is a great example. So they have a lot of power outages every day, but they only last for 15 minutes to 4 hours every day. Now, if you're in a discharge event and you deplete your batteries down to, let's say, 10%, and then you go into backup mode, you only have 10% of your energy left. And so you really want to know that you're in backup mode. You don't want that seamless transition because then you don't know you're in backup. You use the last 10% of your energy and then now you have no energy, right? And so I always recommend so SolarEdge does offer a seamless transition. We do say, yes, you can program the battery for this. You will not notice your Wi-Fi go down. You will not notice your lights turn off. But you're relying upon checking your push notification to know when you're in backup. And that is the biggest thing. Like sometimes I'm working in the house and on my car or whatever, and my phone's on silent, and I don't see it till the end of the day. And I'm like, oh man, I have like 50 emails right now or 50 text messages from people. And so I always say seamless transition is great as long as you're avidly checking your push notifications. Other than that, I'm going to say make before break, or break, excuse me, I said that backwards. Break before make, and having a little interruption indicates to me that I'm in backup mode.
Yeah, I've got a solar system on my house, and I have just long enough to like get up and realize, oh, the power's out, before it turns back on, and then I sit right back down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My kids get frustrated because the Wi-Fi goes down for 5 minutes. Like they're like, "Oh, Dad, the Wi-Fi is down." I'm like, I'm like, just give it a second. It's rebooting. It's fine. And like, you know, that 2-second interruption followed by I'm going to say 2-minute reboot of the modem and router, right? Just drives my kids insane because they can't watch their Minecraft videos or whatever it is they're watching. So if the Wi-Fi is that important to you, like I just got a UPS for my network. Yeah. So like when my network goes down, or when my grid goes down, my Wi-Fi is still up.
There is an advantage to having that type of system, and that would be like any electric timer. So your microwaves, your electric dryer, you do not want those running on backup. So as soon as it goes down, those so whenever the system goes down, those electronic timers, they just cut off. And so you're not using, that 1,000 watts for your microwave or God knows how much for your electric dryer.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So and they require human reset too. So they go down, they stay off, like you said. Yeah. And then if you're in the middle of microwaving your frozen burrito, you're going to have to go turn on your microwave again. That's fine. But hey, do I really need this microwave burrito right now? How much energy do I have in my battery? Yeah. And it could be, I'm starving.
And you brought up UPSs, which I think is really, really important for folks with medical devices. And they've almost certainly already got these, but it's really, really important that if you do have medical devices that you have them on a UPS. Yeah. Just in case, because the power will go out for a second or two and then come back on.
Yeah, no solar installer will say that, and no manufacturer will say, this is for medical devices. That is an essential emergency load, and you want to be sure that those have their own dedicated backup systems.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to batteries, let's talk about just power versus capacity, or energy and power.
Yeah, sure. So when you look at a battery, they're going to give you two values. The most common value is their kilowatt hours. That's how much capacity they have. So think about it as your fuel tank in your car. How much energy can you get out of this thing? It's 13.5, it's 10, it's 5, it's 20. Whatever the battery manufacturer is dictates the capacity. That's the value number one. The second value is how much power can it deliver. So is it 5 kilowatts continuous? Is it 7.5? Is it 10 kilowatts? Whatever the power is. And so let's use some round numbers. Let's say you have a 10 kilowatt hour battery and you can discharge it at 5 kilowatts. So if you were running at the 5 kilowatts, you could do that you could sustain that power for 2 hours on a full charge, right? So that's kind of the relationship between the two. And the last value that homeowners should actually consider is what the LRA value is. And LRA is lock rotor amps. And it just is how much amperage can you deliver within 15 milliseconds, so a fraction of a second, to start a motor load. So that could be your air conditioner, could be a well pump, a sump pump, something like that. And high LRA values mean you can start larger loads. My brother is a good example. He has 2 5-ton air conditioners.
Oh yeah.
So he lives in Arizona, 2-story house, large house. And so he's got these 2 air conditioners that have an LRA value of 127 amps. Okay? So each. Yeah. So when we were testing backup on his house, he has a multi-inverter system. Multi-inverter, multi-battery. And so we were able to run his one air conditioner plus his base loads, no problem. That second air conditioner turned on, sometimes the system would trip off. And it came down to if those 2 air conditioners started at the exact same time And when he goes in a power outage in summertime, his power goes out for 2 seconds, right? Comes back on. Both of those air conditioners reset, and they both wait 5 minutes before they start. And they both start exactly at the same time. And so what we did is we put load control on one of the air conditioners. And I said, okay, this downstairs unit is going to be on during a power outage. This upstairs unit is going to be off during a power outage. So he's cool with that.
Good.
And he's like, okay, I'll just, sleep downstairs on the couch. If it happens during nighttime, like no big deal. At least I'll be getting some air conditioning, right? And so he was good with that. But ultimately, he lives in a house where his air conditioners are now 25 years old. They're getting to the end of their life, and they're probably going to be replaced soon. So when he replaces them, he's going to look at that LRA value, and he's going to choose an air conditioner that has a very low LRA value.
Yeah, Jeff is saying that's really, really important that's really, really important when you're dealing with well pumps.
Yeah.
The old storage systems could only back up 20 amps, and that wouldn't run a well pump.
Yep.
So just, always be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
We talked very briefly about NEM2 and NEM3. So if my buddy across the street, who already owned his system, had talked to Solar Bro and added more panels to his house, he would have changed his NEM agreement.
Yeah.
And gotten a lot less.
So he's in PG&E territory, right? Yeah. And so PG&E has made the statement, anytime you add solar panels to your system, you are now in NEM3, right? And anytime you go to NEM3, it kills the economics. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you can stay in NEM1 or NEM2, stay in NEM1, stay in NEM2. Do not upgrade if you can avoid it. It is imperative. Like I think there's a bill up for vote coming here in a couple of months that anytime you sell your house with your solar system, it's actually going to trigger a NEM upgrade to NEM3, which kills economics for the new prospective home buyer, which sucks. But stay in NEM2. Don't listen to anyone that says, oh yeah, NEM3 is better. It is not better. Stay in NEM2. So you can do that through the Re-Energize program. If you're in SoCal Edison or San Diego Gas and Electric, so long as the DC system size is bigger than your inverter size, so 10 kilowatts of DC on the roof, 8 kilowatts inverter, then you can add solar panels without triggering a NEM upgrade.
So I can add a bunch more panels and a bunch more batteries?
You can add panels, no problem. In any jurisdiction, you can add batteries and not trigger a NEM upgrade. So you can always add batteries, but the panels are the tricky thing.
Check the fine print with your jurisdiction.
Yeah, so PG&E is the only one that says, nope, you can't add them. And there's some tricky things that we can do with power control systems. But again, that's for homeowners. All you have to know is whatever you can do, stay in NEM2. And your installer may talk to you about a multi-NEM agreement where you have your original system in NEM2 and maybe an add-on in NEM3. That's okay, as long as your original system is in NEM2.
Very cool. So next time we're going to be talking about what to expect from the installation process itself and some of those hidden costs that people don't expect.
Right.
Because there's a lot of surprise costs that you maybe are not anticipating that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like soft costs?
Soft costs, like an annual bill, like a true-up bill.
Oh, true-up bills?
Yeah. That's one I just had a big kerfuffle with one of my friends who was very upset that they had to pay a bunch of stuff when they're renting.
Do you get that a lot? Like, because we're both in the solar industry, do you get like your friends come through the woodwork like, hey, you're a solar guy.
Can I add panels to my system? Yeah, I get that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the reason that we're doing this right now.
It's like the guy with the truck. Like, somebody with a pickup truck. Hey, man, can you come help me move?
Yep. I'm so glad a tree fell on my pickup truck. Nobody calls me anymore. Nobody likes me. All right. Well, hey, we just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that came out today and joined us. Jeff, Travis, Joel, everybody, it was great to see you. We'll see you on the next one. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay sunny.
Stay optimized.